Practice, can you kind of take us through that? Tell us what happened.
Yeah, just crazy. Like something out of a movie. Like you just never even, think of something like that. But we had just called. We literally just finished practice on that end of the field down there, and talking to the team, and we heard this just loud, just screeching noise, like somebody, obviously somebody was slamming on the brakes, and then we heard just a huge collision up on perimeter, and so I think Danny Poole stepped off to call to make sure people knew there was a big crash. We just kind of all was like, whoa, and then we turned around and I was fixing to dismiss the team, and then all of a sudden it was like we turned timber was falling. We turned around and here comes a car just coming down that ravine. I mean, it was just unbelievable, and it just keeps coming, and it's all the way to the moat. It's a miracle it didn't go in the moat, and it was just kind of a natural. I mean, the whole team just took off running, and you didn't know if the car was going to catch on fire. You had no idea. But, you know, it's just kind of instinct, and a bunch of our trainers and Daniel Boyd, who's student coach for us, but as a former military guy, they actually swam across the moat, and it's like quicksand over there, and just to try to kind of assess the situation until the paramedics get there, and Xavier Dye ran around to try to, because there's no way they wouldn't know where to go because his car was all the way down, and so it was just we huddled up, and we just said a prayer for just the situation, whoever the person was, and then my son Will came over to me and said, and he just said, got a big tear in his eye, and he said, Dad, I think that's Clary, and it just took my breath away. Clary Miles is a kid I've known his whole life, and he's been on my team. Y'all know I coach baseball, and I've coached him since he was 8 years old. He's my center fielder, and just an unbelievable young man. Works for us here. He's a freshman, same as Will, and works for Thad, and just does odd jobs around here, and just an unbelievable young man and family. And I mean, it's like my own son's. I can just picture the situation. So just was able to get around there to him and called his dad and let him know that it was very serious. And I had no idea what to expect when I mean they had to literally strap him and kind of winch him up and to get him, and he was just in a lot of pain. But as soon as I saw him, he knew who I was. He knew who he was, and so my middle brother had a massive head injury when he was 16. He went through a windshield, and so I knew he didn't have like a massive head injury. I knew he was in a lot of pain, and he was moving his toes and hands and all that. So I was just trying to give his parents encouragement on the way to the hospital that hey, he's probably got some internal issues, but these are good signs, and it's a miracle. I mean, an absolute miracle that he is alive. Um, and I was able to go to the hospital last night, and just he's got a lot of things to deal with. And it's gonna be a long road to get back to where he needs to be, but it's just a miracle. I mean, it's just God's grace that that young man is still with us. And
Coach, have you heard anything from the family today?
yeah, yeah, and he has some broken bones. I think his hip and pelvis area. He's got some broken bones and some internal things that he's going to have to deal with, with his bladder and stuff. But it's going to be a long road for him. But all things that will heal in time, and that, it's like I told his mom. I said, hey, whatever they tell you, be thankful because he's moving all of his extremities, and he's conscious and aware. He doesn't remember what happened, but he knew everybody, and the rest, hey, because I just with what we saw, I mean, I just can't even believe that somebody was able to survive that. Just a true miracle, and just angels around him.
Should we name that miracle moat? You think?
Man, I'm telling you, it was, and our trainers, they just did an awesome job, and just getting over there and trying to, just like I said, help out. They were able to get him out of the car, and then the paramedics and police did a great job too. They really did. I mean, I didn't know how they were going to get him up, and there's actually a little, you'd never know it, but there's actually a little sewer area where they could access it from the bottoms down there, to to where they could at least get an ambulance somewhere down there, but they still had to winch him up a good little ways, and it just a miracle. And again, that we were here because I mean, who knows how long it would take for somebody to have found him, because it was literally off a cliff, and just a real surreal moment for all of us and our team, and just perspective, how quick, just like that, things can happen, especially as a father. I got 2 sons that drive, and I got another one on the way, and just so quick how things can happen. And
Could this be a teaching moment for the team?
absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what I used it for. And in fact, today just talked about that little area, because there's kind of a blind spot up there, and then also coming out of Lightsey, just in general, just being. I mean, we've all been there, I mean, we all of us older, we probably all had a moment where you go, oh my gosh, we're thankful, we're lucky, and so just trying to really make sure that they got the right urgency, and don't take anything for granted, especially this generation growing up, well, everybody, with cell phones and all that type of stuff, but I don't know what happened or how it happened. I have no idea, other than that it just, it was a massive collision, and we didn't see it, we just heard it. But you just, that's a parent's worst nightmare, and hopefully it's a good teachable moment for everyone, and then just all of our prayers and thoughts go out to Clary Miles and his family, his mom Paula and dad Kevin, just great people, and he's in a room now, but it's like I said, he's going to have a lot of things to deal with over the next 6 months or so. It's actually y'all know Qualkenbush. It's actually his cousin.
I'm sure now you want to deal with football.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's real perspective. I mean, I have a routine, and I'm a creature that way, and Tuesday nights are big nights for me to get a lot of work done, and it's just like all of a sudden it's like, I mean, who cares? I'll figure it out. It's just perspective, for everybody. You go to a hospital on a Tuesday night, and you're in the ER, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, all the people, and just the pain. You just see so much pain, and and it hadn't been somebody I know, I wouldn't have been at the hospital, but yet that same pain would have still been sitting there, and it's just we're just all blessed when you can wake up and you got your health, and you got just peace. I mean, you just have to just be thankful for that, and I mean, just so many people that you don't even know what's going on with them, but that they're really hurting. I even had a lady, God, I want to say her name was Hastings, but I mean, I was on the phone, and actually talking to Dan Radakovich, and I could tell she was kind of distraught, but she actually handed my wife a sticky note, and her mom was in ICU, and it was just a dire situation, but she's evidently a big Clemson fan, and I don't know if we would pray for her, and I did pray for her, and I'm pretty sure her name was Hastings was her last name, but anyway, you'll get some perspective real quick, and just know how fortunate we are, because that's going on all day, every day. There's something going on in people's lives. So that was, for us, just kind of a Tuesday practice another day, and then all of a sudden you're in the midst of it's a real person. This is life and death, and so yeah, definitely a teachable moment.
Are you proud of the way that your team responded so fast? I heard Tony was trying to go into the
Oh
water.
yeah,
Trying to go into the water.
yeah. Well, I mean, the initial, like I said, everybody was jumping in the moat, and it was like, wait a minute, we've got plenty of people right here. There's only so much. The worst thing you do is get over there, and you don't know if the car's stable. Right. And we had, I think, 6 or 7 that were over there, and so, like I said, it's just quicksand. But the trainers, are really the ones that need to be there to try to assess the situation, and then the rest of us several of us went over and around to try to help them with just some of the things that whatever we could do. And police and the paramedics and our trainers and Daniel Boyd, like I said, who's a ex-military guy, older guy in school now, student coach, and he knew Clary as well. So I think it shook him up pretty good when he got over there, because you don't know what you're gonna see. But it's very, very fortunate.
How's Will dealing with it? Is going to be heavy on his mind for a while, you think?
Say that again.
How's Will dealing with it?
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, it was he's a young person, and we all deal with things like that, our whole lives, and that was sometimes until it hits home with you, it's hard to really have the true perspective of how fortunate we are, and so he was shook up last night, but I think just seeing Clary and getting there last night, being with all the family and friends, and just getting the reports and knowing that he was conscious and all that, and again that he's got a long list of issues, and a couple of them very serious, but he's eventually going to be okay.
Regarding football, do you think you have your team's attention with this Wake Forest team, which is a
Yeah.
better team than many people think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be disappointed if we don't. And if I don't, they'll get their attention when the ball kicks off on Saturday. This is a team that we got to out execute. I mean, it's just that simple. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're in position. They really understand, their scheme and play with discipline. So you have to out execute them and match their precision. They do a good job. I mean, as I said yesterday, I mean, I'm just really impressed with their energy and effort, and so I know we're going to get their best. It's all about us, though. It's about making sure that we play at the level that I know we can play at, and with the precision, and just trying to get better. I mean, there's so much room for improvement. I mean, we've won 5 games, but we've got a lot to improve on, and the guys know that. So they all have taken coaching and are all working hard to just try to make this the best week. That's all we're